Oh, hey guys, I wanted to shoot a video to help you prepare for your FSA test. We're going to go over 218 problems, and we're going to cover every topic that we've worked on this school year. And if you can answer these questions that I'm about to show you and give you the answers to, give you the explanations of some, you're going to do spectacular in your FSA test. So we're going to quickly hit on all the topics that we hit this school year. I'm going to give you a couple problems from each of the topics, and you're going to be able to review and think back to all the things that we've done this year. How I want you to use this video is you don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to stay in order. You can skip and jump around. But as I put a problem up there, I'm going to just start giving you the answers and explaining it my own way. I want you to pause the video, have a piece of paper out, work out the problem, see if you understand it, and then hit play to see what the answer is. Now, I'm going to also make it so I'm going to tell you what page number we're on and what number as we go through this. And if you have questions, you can send me messages in Dojo or through Canvas. If for some reason you get the answer to a problem and I don't explain it, because I'm not going to explain every single one, then you can send me a message and say, page 3, number 5, I don't understand. And we'll go over them. Okay. So the first thing we're going to cover is some of these numbers and rule patterns that we talked about. And it's just identifying the rules and the patterns that the people have used to come up with their numbers. So take a look at number 1, pause the video, and try to figure out your answer. Okay, so if you didn't pause the video, it's going to seem like I'm talking immediately, but you need to make sure you're the one pausing the video, okay? So you should have gotten a 4, 108, and then the sequence they're using is each one of those is multiplied by 3, right? All right, take a look at number 2. You should have gotten 24. And doing that, I always like to write out Karen, and then write out Jose, and then figure out what they start at, and then multiply by 2, and figure out she started at 6, and add, and just go straight across this way until you see the first one that matches, right? Pause the video and do number 3. Okay, so you're starting at 1, 1. And then if you follow the rules, the key here is Erica's numbers on the X coordinate. So that comes out to 3, 4, and 7, 10. Because for the X coordinate, you were doing times 2 plus 1. And for the Y coordinate, we were doing times 2 plus 2. All right, check out number 4. All right, number 4, you should have gotten C, because that's the only one that divides by 3. It's got to be going down by 3 every time, right? And that one, you just have to check each choice. Pause and do number 5. The rule here was adding 1.2. It goes up by 1.2 every time, right? All right, take a look at number 6. You should have gotten 8, 10, 22, and 70, because we're doing times 2 minus 6, starting with the 7, right? I hope you guys are starting to see. You just got to read the questions. Pause and do number 7. With number 7, you should have got the 13. Same as the one up above, right? You got to write out both their names and go through their patterns. We're going to skip number 8. Let's do number 9 down here at the bottom. Both of them started at 1, 1. So you should have got 1, 1 in both boxes. And then this is a 5 and a 25. And this would be a 4 and a 16. All right. And number 10 on this page, pause the video and check it out. The rule is add 3, select all that apply. That means there's going to be more than one. That's the way we're going to miss problems, right? And you should have gotten this one and this one. So if you have any problems with that, that's page 1. Write down the number, send me an email, or we can talk about it. Page 2, we're shifting to place value. So let me turn over my paper here. Take a look at number one. Number one is 100 times bigger. Because remember, the value of this, it's 100 times bigger than this down here. And really the only difference is these two zeros, right? And that is these two zeros right here you have to think about. But this is reading. You've got to read this very close to make sure you pay attention to what it's asking you. All right, number two, I'm just going to shade it in because you don't have a box to shade it in, but it's 1, 2, there's the 3/10. There's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hundredths. And then this little box would just represent this one that's right here. And there would be the 2 thousandths colored in. All right, pause and take a second. Number 3, you'll see on your FSA test 100%. So pause and do that one. The answers to this one are 100 times and 1/10. You have to read the words and figure out whether the number is getting bigger or smaller. Number 4, you will see 100% on your test. And this is going up times 10, right? Remember, you're starting with something less than 1 and getting something that's 6, right? So you have to multiply. I mean, you can't be multiplying by fractions because the number would still get smaller. So it's got to be a whole number. And you see the 6/8 here and the 6/8 here. So the decimal spot, it moves 1 to the right, which is times 10. Do number 5. Number 5 comes out as 1.7. That's essentially moving the decimal 1 point to get a little bit smaller, right? Number 6, 100% on your test. Your product is a small number. We multiplied by a fraction. That means your product got smaller. So your answer's got to be much bigger. 2 zeros, 1, 2. You would get 65.9. You can't get that one wrong. Number 7. You should get the 4.16 down here if you're thinking. Remember, the value of the 6 in 16 is in the ones place, right? And if it's 100 times, it's already 100 times greater, right? So you've got to find something that's 100 times less. So that would be the 6 has to move from 16.2. It has to move 2 spots. 1, 2. So you need to find the 6 that's in the 100th spot, which is that one. You'll see this one 100% for sure. Take a look and try to pick your answers for number 8. For number 8, you should have gotten these two for all the same reasons we've talked about before, right? This is almost exclusively reading, paying attention, comprehension, right? You've got to figure out what number they're starting with and why it's going up and down. Take a look at number 8. Pause the video and do it. Now, number 8, our product is 6.8, and we know we multiplied by a fraction, so it went down. And it went down 1 spot. So something times that 1/10, it moved 1 decimal. So you've just got to move 1 spot. This is one where hopefully you don't have to do any work. You can just see, I mean, look at the choices. Here, they've got 0.6. That's moving the wrong direction, right? This is actually the exact same answer, C, which makes no sense. And A would be if you move 2 spots. Well, this 10 makes it so you're only moving 1, right? And do number 10. Number 10 says you're starting with a number less than 1 and getting an answer that's 75. And it's way less than 1, right? 0.075 is like hardly non-existent. So you know you need to be moving this decimal 1, 2, 3 spots. And that's just a 1 with 1, 2, 3 zeros. When you see this on your test, one of the choices will be 10. One's going to be 100. One is probably going to be like 1/100th or something to try to confuse you. So if you can get these problems right without the multiple choice, you're going to be in great shape. So that is it for page 2. If you have any questions, let me know. Let's look at page 3, to number 1. I've told you a million times, number 1 is just a 1, and then this exponent is just how many zeros. So remember, that's 10 times 10, which is 100. Take a look at number 2. The exponent is what's missing up here, and that exponent should be a 2, because think, we're dividing. So this has got to go, how many spots did it move? The decimal is technically right here. It moved 1, 2 to get this as your quotient. So you had to move 2 spots. Take a look at number 3. Pause the video. For number 3, remember, the key is to pick all of them. So you should have got this one, and this one. Pause the video and do number 4. You are moving 2 places to the left. Remember, we're talking about the decimal. The number can move to the right. The decimal moves to the left when you're dividing. It says dividing right here, because the number's got to get smaller, right? So if the decimal's moving in a 100, the decimal's at the end of the last 0. So if we move it to the left, that makes it a 10. Move it to the left, that makes it a 1. So when you're dividing, that 2 to the 10 to the second power there, that's really 100, right? So you'd have to move the 2 zeros to the left when you're dividing. Go ahead and do number 5. Number 5 is just 1 0 move. And remember, this is literally 8 times 10. So your answer has to be around 80, right? Now, you're going to keep the 8. You're going to keep the 8, 1, and 3 because you're multiplying by 1. Hold on, my pen's not working. The 8, 1, and the 3. And then you know the answer has to be in the 80s, so the decimal just goes here, right? It'd be 1 spot bigger. The decimal's moving to the right because we're multiplying now. Good. This is page 3 if you guys have any questions. Page 3. Do number 6. Number 6, the answer is D. Remember, 10 to the third is 10 times 10 times 10. Pause and do number 7. D is the only one that works out to show the correct product. The other ones are not moving the right way. Go ahead and do number 8. I'm just going to write number 8 in here because you guys don't have to write these. But remember, it's just, this is how many zeros, right? Zeros, 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 zeros. So 10 to the 0 power is 1. This is 100. This would be 10,000 with the 4 zeros. This would be 10. Come on, Penny. Why aren't you working? And this would be 1,000. Got it? Take a look at number 9. This would be, she needs 750, you should have gotten. Remember, she needs 0.75, right, of a meter to make each bow, and she's making 1,000. So there's 3 zeros, and this is 1, 2, 3 moves. And that's how you would get the 750. But you got to read the words to know which direction to go, right? Number 10. 305. And you're dividing by or multiplying by this fraction. Remember, fractions, the 305's got to get smaller, right? It has to get smaller because we're multiplying by 1/100. So it's got to get from 300 something, it's got to go down 2 place values. So your answer has got to get into the single digits. So you're keeping the 305. There's only one place to put that digit to get that into single digits, and that would be to put it right there, right? The 2 spots. All right, that is page 3. If you have any questions, send me a message. Here is page 4. Kind of more of the same. This is a lot of reading comprehension. So pause the video and just get your answer. For number 1, it is these 2. I mean, you pretty much, oops, I messed that up. This one, you've just got to read those out loud and know that it goes tenths, hundredths, thousandths, right? Number 2, just want you to write this one out. Go ahead and try to write it. It says 16 thousandths, which is 0.016. Remember, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, right? Go ahead and get your answers to number 3. Select all. That means look for more than one on your test. Either get the first one, this one, and this one. You just got to watch how those break down, right? Eliminate the ones that don't make sense. Like, for example, this starts with 71 times 1. Well, you're never going to get a 7 by itself if you do 71 times 1, right? All right, take a look at number 4. Number 4, you would just expand out, right? Here's the 3 times 1, which is 3. This 2 to the 10th means you have a 2 in the 10ths place. Well, that's this back up here again, right? The 10ths place, so a 2 goes there. Here's the hundredths place, the 6 goes there, and here's the thousandths place, a 5 goes there. That's all you have to do. Number 5. Go ahead and pause. You should get this one, and this one. And those are just inequalities. Which one's greater than or less than? We make silly mistakes on that. Look where the decimal is. Look at the numbers. And look at, I mean, it's just bigger numbers and smaller numbers, but you got to go across, right? All right, do number 6. Number 6, this is the only one that makes this true. Number 7. This is in the tenths, hundredths, thousandths place. It's in the 900ths place. So you would get this one. And technically 0.09, that would be in the place also, right? Write 9.57 in a word form. The only way you can mess this up is you don't know the word for the decimal. And that word is and. 57 hundredths. Don't forget the hundredths part. You say 5,700, that's something totally different, right? All right, number 9. You should get this one and this one. And number 10, pause the video and work this one out. It's like the one we just did. You should have gotten 5 and 8 to 9. 5 and 829 thousandths. All right, that is it for page 4. Let me know if you have any questions. On to page 5. Now we're sliding over a little more into some of these decimals and how these things move, right? So take a second and read number 1. Whole number is the ones place, right? You have to remember that. Whole number, ones place. So here you should have gotten a check here, a check here, a check here, and a check here. Do number 2. This would get rounded to 16 because the whole number, we'd look at this 1, nothing would happen, right? Pause the video and do number 3. You should have gotten the first one, the second one, and the fourth one. Go ahead and do number 4. Nearest tenth. So you'd have to look at the hundredth, and that 6 is going to make this 1 go to a 2, and then the rest stays the same. You should have got 9.2. Go ahead and do number 5. That is D. Remember, when you see 3 and, it's got to be 3 point something, right? 3 and is 3. So that and that both can't be the answers. Right after you read the first word, you're down to 2 choices. And remember, 17 thousandths. The 7 has to be in the thousandths place. The last number of the number you say has to be in the place that you say. All right, go ahead and do number 6. Number 6, you should have got this one, and this one. Go ahead and do number 7. Number 7 you could just think about on your own. It wants you to give any numbers that could be in there. This one would be anything between 7.675 and 7.8 or 684. So it could be any of those. We're not going to spend a lot of time on number 7. You just got to pick the ones that come before it, right? 4.205 and 4.214. We'll look at that later. All right, take a second and read number 8 and just write those numbers next to each other, the ones that go together. Okay, if you read this and solved this, you should see these two numbers next to each other. You should see these two numbers next to each other. You should see these two numbers next to each other. You should see these two numbers next to each other and these two. All right, looking at number 9, do number 9, pause the video. Rounding to the nearest hundredth. That is going to be, let's see, this is where they're trying to mess you up. This is where they're going to give you this on the test. And this made me pause for a second. This is the 4 is in the tenths place. This 9 is in the hundredths place. So you need to round to the nearest hundredth. You need to look at this 8. Well, this 8 is going to make this 9 go up to a 0, which means you're going to carry another one over. So the actual answer for this is going to be 9.5. And you'll see that in a multiple choice question, and they'll give you those choices. But once the 9 gets rounded up, it's got to go over into the tenths place. So that one's the tricky one, right? You got to pay attention to that regrouping, move it over. And do number 10. Whole number. You got to remember whole number means the ones place, right? So your answer for that is 8. All right, that's page 5. Let me know if you have any questions. Take a look at page 6. Okay, now we're just into this multiple digit multiplication stuff. I can't show you how to do that anymore. We've done partial products. We've done the long multiplication. We've done every single possible way. So when you're doing these, just try to solve them. Here's the good news on your test. They'll give a lot of you they'll give you multiple choice a lot of times on this. And if you just know the place values, you can a lot of times get the answer. So I'm just going to give you some of these answers, but do number 1. Number 1, you should have got 122,275. I mean, I'm not going to do out all the work because you know how to do these. You just have to do them correctly. Number 2, go ahead and try to solve number 2. It wants to know what factor's missing. You could use a quick estimate to get close. You could use division. I mean, if you did 243 times 10, that would give you 2,400. So you know your answer is bigger than 10, right? And it's not, you would add 243 to it a couple times, but you should have got 12 for this one. The good news is on your test, they'll give you the choices. So you just have the choices to try, right? Take a look and do number 3. Number 3, there's no easy way out. You've just got to test them all and pick the ones. You should have got these 3. Go ahead and pause the video and do number 4. You should have gotten 8,580. Go ahead and do number 5. The answer to number 5 is 84,960. Number 6 is another one that you just got to do the work in. And here's what I'll tell you about number 6. They'll put that answer, you'll have choices, and it'll say 396. It'll say 39,630 or whatever. And then it'll say 3,960. So you need to know that 1,000 times 3 is in the 3,000s, and more specifically, 13 times 3. This 13 times this 3 is going to give you around 39, right? So a lot of times you'll be able to quickly, without doing the work, if you know to do an estimate, 13 and 3 is around 39. Sometimes these choices will be the answer. It'll be 4963. It'll be 396. Almost always on these tests, you don't really have to do the problem. If you do a quick estimate, you'll see the answer. Go ahead and do number 7. Number 7 is another one that we've done a million times, and I try to give you guys examples. The answer is 9,010, right? And you're taking 200 something, and you need to find out what number here goes in the tens place. Well, let's just pretend this is 300. Just round it crazy. 300 times this 2, which would be 20, is only 6,000, right? And that's a horrible estimate, and we're not even close. So it isn't the 2. 5 times this is 15,000 something. So it isn't the 5. So I just tell you that. So like, you've got to go through and test each one, right? But don't test the 2 and the 5 are not even close, right? Now, 3 times the 3 is 9,000. You're right in the ballpark. 4 times the 3 is 1,200. You're a little over, but remember you estimated this up. So you should be a little over, right? So you'd have to test the 3 and the 4 to figure it out, but don't pick A or D. They don't even come close to making sense. That's where you'll save time, is eliminating A and D and then only trying B and C instead of going through and doing all the choices. All right, do number 8. Number 8, there's no real easy way out. You can try to get some estimates, but you've got to kind of just figure out which ones go and which one don't. Those would be the 3 answers. Try number 9. Number 9, you should have got 33,404. Again with this, the choices for this, when they give you this, it's going to be A, 3,300. B, C will be 334,044. And D will be something else ridiculous. So a lot of times, if you pay attention, say one more time, if you pay attention ahead of time, you'll realize something in the 2000s times 10 is going to have to give you something in the 10,000s place, right? And this is the only one that's in the 10,000s place, not 10,000, the 10,000th place, right? So make sure you take a look at that because it can help you on the problems. Okay, do number 10. You should have gotten 60,120. All right, that was page 6. Let me know if you have any questions. On to page 7. This is just division. Same exact thing. I can't really help you anymore. You've just got to practice this. You know partial quotients, taking them out, the partials. You know the long division, you know the short division. You know the tricks, you know to cross out the zeros. You know all of it, right? So your answer, go ahead and do number 1. You should get 59. Now look, if you just pretend this is 30 and you pretend this is 1,500, 3 goes into this 15. 3 goes into this 15 5 times. So you should know your answer should be in the 50s, right? I just tell you that because once again on the test, they'll have the answers as 5, 59, 590, and 5,900. And if you can do that estimate, you don't really have to do the problem. All right, pause and do number 2. You should have got this one, and this one. No real easy way to do that. You have to check each one. But if you hate division, can't you just take this and multiply it by this? And if you do it, you should get this, right? So you can go backwards on these. Go ahead and do number 3. Number 3, you should have gotten this one, and this one. And this says a quotient, which is your answer greater than 100. So you just got to look. This 67 only goes into this 64. That doesn't go in one full time, so that can't be it. This 51 goes into this 51, so that would be it. 90 does not go into 88. 45 goes into 46 one full time. 90 goes into 90 one full time, and 38 does not go into 37. So I guess that's my way of saying if you understand the place value, you can do this problem in like 25 seconds. If you don't understand, then you're stuck doing every one of these problems to see if your answer is more than 100. So that's why the place value is so important. Take a look at number 4. You should have got 104. Take a look at number 5. Pause the video. You should have gotten 60. Remember, you can take a 0 out. Take a 0 out. 5 into 30 is 6. 5 into the last 0 is 0. All right, do number 6. You should have gotten 36. Go ahead and do number 7. You should have got 71. Again, if you can do these, they're going to give these most of you as multiple choice questions. And I'm going to do it again. If you round this 37 to say a 40 in your head and you make this 26 here, let's just say a 28, because I know 4 goes into that 7 times. Your answer has to be around a 70 something, right? Now, I hope that makes sense what I'm saying. I'm not saying that's the exact answer, but you'll see your test. The choices are going to be 7, 71, 710, and like 73. Well, you know there's a couple choices you can eliminate, right? If you know the place value, there's going to be choices on this test that you can eliminate. Take a look at number 8. Which sentence could be true? You should have gotten C. Take a look at number 9. Pause the video. You should have gotten the first one, the third one, and the last one. And take a look at number 10. Same thing I did before. I hope this is making sense to you guys. I just pretend this is a 30 in my head, and this is a 2,100. And I just do estimate. I do them any way I want. I don't really care. And if I take away this 0 and take away this 0, 3 goes into this 21 7 times. 3 goes in. My answer has to be somewhere near 70, right? Now, the actual answer to this is 77 when you do it. So I was right. It was near 70. I only tell you that because I'm going to say it for the 4th time. The choices on your test to answer this problem is they're going to go A, they're going to say 7. B, they're going to say 77. C, they're going to say 777. And D, they're going to say 7,777. So if you do the quick estimate in your head, do you have to do the whole problem? The answer to that's no. All right, that's page 7. If you have questions, let me know. Go to page 8. Go ahead and try to do number 1. Now we're going into adding some decimals. I think they might have messed up on this because this isn't really our order of operations page, but remember you got to do that first and then add. So you should have got 15.17. The next one, I really want you guys to, you can write it out like this and multiply, and then you would move the decimals 1, 2 places at the end for your answer. And you should have gotten 53.56. I'm going to say it for the 5th time. The reason I would do a quick estimate first is because I look at this problem and I say it's 5 times 10, which is 50. Because I swear to goodness, for any parents that are watching this, the choices will be 5.35 A. B will be 53. C will be 535. And D will be 5,356. So a lot of times they give you these problems just to see if you understand what to do and not necessarily because they want you to work them out. So always do that quick estimate. I look at this and I immediately go, my answer should be somewhere near 10 times 5 is 50. The answer's got to be near 50. Now, on the same token, if the choices were 53, 51, 54, and 55, then you got to do the work, right? So far, I don't usually see them doing that. Look at number 3. You should have gotten $12.75 and then 19.02. Take a look at number 4. How far did she walk in total? Here's how far. Remember, this is the trick though. That's one way, right? She repeated the same route, so then you got to double it. So now we're starting to get into problems that have multiple steps, right? You should have gotten 14.26. Number 5 is another one. Pause the video and work it out. Number 5 is another one where if you can do it, great. You got to line up those decimals, right? They give it to you all crazy like that to see if you'll line up the decimals right. But I like to go like this. 15 plus 4 is 19 plus nothing. My answer's got to be near 19. Every test question I've ever seen for this has the choices as 1.9, 19, 190, 1,900. Like, I bet my life those will be the choices. So if you just look at it and go 15 plus 4 is 19 plus 0 is around 19, you'll easily get this. Now, if you added this, the actual answer is 20.11. So they'll give it to you different, but wasn't my estimate over here 1.9? Literally exactly on, right? Try to let the choices help you, the multiple choices, let them help you. Okay, go ahead and do number 6. This is multiple step, basically how much change you would get back. Once again, I do a quick estimate. He spent 6 and 5 is 11. He had 20. Your answer's got to be near $9, right? The actual answer is $8.39. Do number 7. That's basically, here's another thing, 14 times 3, right? You get a close estimate. A lot of times you might be able to get the answer just with an estimate, but if you multiply that out, you should get 47.46. And remember, it's 14 times 3, basically, right? 14 times 3 is never going to get you something in the hundreds, because it's really, even if you do it at 15 3 times 45, right? Even if you round this up to 15 and round this down to 3, your answer's got to be in the neighborhood of 45. The reason I keep saying that, I'm going to do it again. The choices on this test are going to be 4.7, 470, and 4,700 something. They do it all the time. So if you can use your common sense, you don't have to do all the work. Go ahead and do number 8. For number 8, you should have got 2238 here and 4476 here. Go ahead and do number 9. You should have gotten 3128. On your test, this will be multiple choice and simple, like I've talked about before. If you just do the 7 plus the 3, this is basically equal to 1. This is 23 and 7 is 30. Your answer is going to be near 31 just with a quick estimate, right? They won't even give you choices on the test that are close. Same thing with number 10. Line up those decimals. You should have gotten 35.67. All right, that's page 8. If you have any questions, let me know. Go on to, now we're going to go on to adding fractions. We need to have our common denominators. Most of these are just adding, so we're not going to take a lot of time. Try to do number 1. You should have gotten D. Try number 2. Number 2, you got to check a bunch of things, but 8 is the answer. Now remember, you've got 2 and 3/12, and your answer is 2 and 5/8. So you can't be adding anything more than 1 to it, right? So that should make you immediately realize that a 1, a 2, and a 3 are definitely not going to work. So you just have to keep checking numbers so you got to 8, right? But don't check 1, 2, and 3, because that's going to give you a full 1 there, and you're already going to be too many, right? So you should see in your head that it's got to be a 7, 8, or 9, because to get from 3/12 to 5/8, you're not adding that much. Go ahead and take a look at number 3. You should have gotten 5/6, 1/3, and 5/12 on your paper. Take a look at number 4. You should have gotten 3 and 3/20. Number 4 is another one where if you do a quick estimate and you see 9 minus 6 is 3, I guarantee 2 of the choices, they're going to have 4s in them. So you would cross those out, and then you're down to 2 choices. So even with the fractions, try to do a quick estimate. Go ahead and do number 5. You should be getting 3 and 9/20. And remember, if you get an answer that's equivalent to that, like if they reduce, sometimes I'm going to reduce it, you may not have. You've got to double check yourself, right? You should know what I'm talking about. But this is another one where if you look, 2 plus 1 is 3. 1/4 is just a piece of a whole, right? Like a quarter. And 1/5 is even smaller. So you should know that your answer has to be 3 and not quite a half, right? It's going to have to be something smaller than a half. All right, do number 6. You should have gotten 5 and 14/15. Common denominator, make sure you're getting it. Pause the video and do number 7. There should have been a 5 up there. Pause the video, do number 8. You should get this one, and this one. Remember, it's any denominator, the bottom number that goes into 36. Okay, go ahead and do number 9. Make sure you find your common denominator. You should have got A. And pause the video, do number 10. You should have gotten 4.5. That's another one where, right? 8 minus 3 is 5. But then 1/6 is very small and 2/3 is very big. So you should realize that you're going to have to regroup. So that 8 right there is going to become a 7. So 7 minus 3, then you'll see your answers in the 4s. I've seen problems where only one of the choices is in the 4s because they want to see if you know to regroup or not. So if you look at that 1/6 and the 2/3 and you go, "Ooh, I got to regroup," and then you do the 7 minus 3 in your head and get 4, a lot of times you'll look at the choices and they'll all be 5 something and only one will be 4. And you automatically know it's the answer, right? That's page 9. Let me know if you have any questions. On to page 10. This is word problems for fractions. You're pretty much multiplying straight across for most of these, right? Some of these you may have to reduce, so you might not get my exact answer. So you're going to have to figure out if your answer is equivalent to mine. Go ahead and do number 1. You should have gotten 3/8. I think I just told you guys this was multiplication. I hope you read the question and realized it's subtraction. Sorry. Number 2. Pause the video and do number 2. You could have gotten 14/24 or 7/12. Those are equivalent to each other, right? Go ahead and do number 3. It literally says difference right here. You should have got 2 and 4/15. And then the second pool, it would be 3 and 17/30. Because now we're adding water to the pool. So literally that one is just adding this onto this. I'm pretty sure that's what it was when I reviewed it. All right, take a look at number 6. Pause the video and do it. You should have gotten 5.5. That's another one where here it is right here. Here it is right here. Look, 3 plus 1 is 4 hours, right? 5/6 is almost a whole nother hour, right? If you had 6/6, then you'd be at 5. So these two can't be the answer. And if you have 5/6 and then you add 4/7, which is almost another half, 5 can't be your answer either. So there's one, if you did the work, you could have gotten the answer without doing the work. You could have just thought about it, right? Look at number 7. You should have gotten 5.5. Remember, if I don't give a good explanation and you can't figure out why it was the answer, write down the page and the number. We're on page 10, and that's number 7. Go ahead and pause the video, do number 8. You should have gotten C. Pause the video, do number 9. You should have gotten 4 and 1/12. Pause the video and do number 10. You should have gotten 1 and 4/15. All right, let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so at this point, we are about halfway done with our problems. We've done about, and that was page 11, about 10 problems. We're at about 110 questions. So I'm going to stop the video here and create a whole nother video for the second half. If you have any questions about any of these, if you can get most of these without the multiple choice, you're in really good shape. But those are the topics that we've covered so far. So I will see you guys in the next video.